What is up, ladies and gents? Time for another video. So I wanted to do this one today. Now this is going to be taking a shot at Chris, not Sarah. Chris is the one who edits the videos and chooses the thumbnails, etc, etc. But it's more, the issue I have is Chris's choice of thumbnails. Obviously, I called Jonathan Jolie out in the poll recently about his choice of thumbnails. I said I don't agree with that because of what Jonathan Jolie is trying to do. But today, it's more about me calling Chris out for his choice of thumbnails. I mean, yesterday's video, yet another thumbnail that had Esme in her swimwear. Now, I'm not kidding, several weeks ago, I went back and I looked at the ingham's channel. And the one thing that really disgusted me was the amount of videos there were that had thumbnails with Isabel, Esme, Isla in their swimwear. You know, it really made me feel physically sick. You know, and the one thing I don't understand is how that and that alone doesn't raise any major red flags for people. Because, you know, to me, seeing that raises a few red flags for me, you know. And it kind of shows you what sort of person Chris Ingham really is. Because we know that I'm not going to start having a go at Sarah because she's not the one that edits the videos, she's not the one that chooses the thumbnails. You know, that's all on Chris. Because he's the one that edits the thumbnails, he's the one that chooses, he's the one that edits the thoughts, he's the one that kind of chooses the thumbnails. So it's all on him. You know, the guy is a massive pervert and his choice of thumbnails really have proven that to me. You know, it actually shocks me that people are actually willing to defend Chris when he's using thumbnails like this. And you know and the thing is, it's like you know exactly what he's trying to do with that. He's trying to attract a certain type of audience to his videos. As he knows that footage of his in swimwear and thumbnails with his in swimwear will attract a certain audience to these videos, and I'm talking about paedophiles and child predators. The thing that pisses me off, right? Esme is 15, and Isla is 12 years old. They are children, and their father is basically making them pedo right handy. That is what Chris is actually doing. He's basically pedo baiting his children. And using them as pedo right-handed. He's basically pimping them out, is what he's doing. And it's disgusting. That's what, you know, people who defend Chris, all they want to say, oh, Chris is such a great dad, blah, 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 blah. But all I see is a pervert who's pimping out his kids every single day. You know, which is basically what he's doing. And I ain't gonna have people trying to deny that because that's all I see. You know, it's about time someone actually went and looked at their channel and saw, you know, and actually saw their thumbnails. You know, I mean, it's like, as I said, I don't understand how this doesn't raise a few major red flags. You know, it's like, people really actually saying that it's okay and acceptable for Chris to be using thumbnails that have his in swimwear? Are people really saying that there's nothing wrong with the fact of with him as a father doing that? Do people really think it's acceptable that he as a father is using thumbnails like that for his videos? Because I don't think it is. You know, I think it's it's very far from appropriate. You know, if Sarah had any decency, she would tell Chris not to use those kind of thumbnails. And funny enough, I said the same thing about the Sonia Jolie's the other day. I said that if Anna had any decency, she would tell Jonathan not to use the thumbnails he uses. But Anna and Sarah, Anna Sonia and Jonathan and Sarah and do have something in common. They don't give a shit about what their husbands do. There's one major thing they have in common is that their husbands are both perverts, and that's very clear to see. You basically see that Jonathan's a massive pervert, and you basically see that Priscilla is a massive pervert, and their choice of video, and their choice of thumbnails have really proven that to me. I mean, do the iPhone not think that it's a bit weird or a bit strange or a bit suspicious at least that Chris is always used in thumbnails like this? Do they not think that's slightly weird? To be honest with you, the police should be confiscating Chris Ingham's hard drive and actually seeing what he has on it. I bet he's probably got a lot of dodgy stuff on his hard drive. I wouldn't mind betting that. I'd certainly be willing to put money on Chris having a lot of dodgy stuff on his hard drive. I think that has to be said. But yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's just ridiculous. There's no words to describe how angry it makes me. The fact that Chris is using thumbnails like this with his kids in swimwear, it's just disgusting. But what's more shameful to me, in my honest opinion, is the fact that people are defending Chris when it's actually defend Chris over the fact that he's using thumbnails like this. No, I don't get how people can really defend him over that. But it seems that some people really are, certainly willing to, defend Chris over this, which, they shouldn't be. But I think, someone really has to say this. Someone really has to, kind of make that point known about this. It's about time someone really called Chris Ingham out for his choice of thumbnails. It's just been he knows exactly what he's doing. It's like when I put the video out a little while ago, I was saying about how I don't like the way that Chris and Sarah, Chris in particular, is constantly trying to provoke and antagonise the haters. And I included Sarah in that. And I think about it now, I think I shouldn't really have included Sarah in that because Chris is the main culprit. Chris is the one who edits the vlogs. He's the one that chooses the vlog titles, the thumbnails, etc, etc. So, it's all on him. At the end of the day, he's the one to blame. It's at the end of the day, it's not like there's only a few videos on their channel that have thumbnails with it hidden swimwear. There are maybe 100, if not more than 100 videos on their YouTube channel that have thumbnails with the hidden bikinis and swimwear. Does that not say something to people? That is something that really stands out to me in particular, is the amount of videos they have on their channel that has thumbnails with the hidden bikinis and swimwear. That stands out to me for so many reasons. But the main reason it stands out to me because of how disgusting and perverted it actually is. This is the thing I don't get, is how people can't see just how disgusting and disgusting and perverted that actually is. The fact that Chris is using thumbnails like that, you know, how do people not see anything wrong with the fact that Chris is using thumbnails like that for his videos? This is why I'm actually genuinely struggling to understand. You know, it's the one thing that I'm really kind of struggling to make sense of. It's the fact that Chris is always using thumbnails like that for his videos that have hits in swimwear and things like that. You know, no decent father would ever use thumbnails, would ever think it was okay and acceptable to use thumbnails like that for his videos. You know, he's filming his hits in swimwear, and at the end of the day, no child should have to consent to being filmed in their swimwear, especially when their parents have the full intention of sharing that on a public social media platform where anyone and everyone can actually see that, you know, and actually get their hands on that footage, you know. You can really tell that Chris doesn't care about certain images or certain footage of his kids ending up on the dark web. There's there's probably plenty of footage and images of his kids in their swimwear on the dark web, but he ain't worried about that. You know, he's perfectly happy to put his kids out there on a public social media platform in their swimwear and everything like that. You know, knowing that anybody can see that and actually save that footage of his kids and use that for unspeakable reasons. I honestly don't understand. I don't get how Chris and Sarah can sleep at night knowing that footage like that of their kids is out there on a public social media platform. You know, it'll be ending up anyway. You know, it doesn't bear thinking about where that sort of footage of their kids might be ending up. But it's something that Chris and Sarah don't ever think about, and you can tell they don't ever really think about that. You know, and it's something that they as parents should think about. You know, I mean, the fact that Chris Ingham thinks it's okay and acceptable to be using thumbnails like that really raises some huge red flags. You know, I don't get how people don't see how that raises so many red flags, as it actually does. It raises a lot of red flags to me about the sort of person that Chris Ingham is. At the end of the day, people should not want their kids around a man who actually thinks it's fucking inappropriate to be using thumbnails like that of his children. You know, if a man is using thumbnails like that of his kids for YouTube videos, you should keep your child well away from him. Because that's not the sort of person you would want your child near. Is a person who thinks it's okay to use thumbnails like that. It has to be said. At the moment. I mean, it's just madness, really. But as I said, it makes me more angry the fact that people can't see Like, yeah, it makes me angry about the fact that Chris is using thumbnails like this for his videos, but it makes me more angry knowing that people can't see anything wrong with it, and they can't see anything wrong with the fact that he's actually using thumbnails like that. And this is what I don't understand. It's how people can't fucking see anything wrong in that. Because there are so many things that are wrong with Chris in particular using thumbnails like that. It is disgusting. I have no words to describe just how disgusting that actually is. For a father to be using thumbnails images like that, to be using thumbnails like that, and have his hits in swimwear, and to be showing so much footage of his hits in his swimwear. You can see Chris loves the opportunity to film his hits in swimwear. There's a reason why people call him a pervert, and that is because that is what he is. And things like this have really proven that fact to me. I think if the authorities were to actually go and look at their channel and look at the amount of videos that actually have thumbnails like that of his in swimwear, they would see why I have such an issue. I don't think people would act all normal about that. I honestly don't get how when people see issues in thumbnails like this, how does that not raise some serious concerns here? Because I feel like it's raised some pretty serious concerns for me. Seeing a parent who thinks it's acceptable to be using thumbnails like that, it's just, to me, it's just incredibly dodgy, incredibly suspicious, incredibly weird, and incredibly creepy and incredibly perverted for a father to be using thumbnails like that. Especially the fact that he's using thumbnail images like that of his 15-year-old daughter. Which basically, at the end of the day, Esme is a child. And Isla is a child. Isla is 12 years old, so Isla is still a child as well. So therefore, the fact that they are still children, it's a very good reason for why Chris and Sarah shouldn't be using thumbnails like that. Because Isabel's 19, so she's kind of an adult. So it's not too much of a problem with her because she's obviously an adult, she's not really a child anymore. But Esme and Isla are still children. Esme might be 15 and Isla might be 12, but they're still children. So, and that fact alone is a hell of a big reason why Chris shouldn't be using thumbnails like that. There's a hell of a big reason for why it's so wrong for Chris to be using thumbnails like that, because Esme and Isla are children. And what Chris is basically doing is he's basically making his 15-year-old and 12-year-old daughter a target for paedophiles and child predators. That is basically what he's doing. He's basically making his two children targets for paedophiles and child predators by using thumbnails like that. That's why I've had a go at them so many times about using thumbnails like that. Because of the risks. Because of the dangers that they're exposing their kids to. Or the dangers he's exposing his kids to by using thumbnails like that. And this is something that Chris the pervert doesn't stop to think about. It's the dangers he's exposing his kids to. He's perfectly happy to expose his kids to paedophiles and child predators online. He doesn't give a shit. If he actually cared about those children in any particular way, he would not be using thumbnails like that, pure and simple. He would, he as a father, would not think it was okay for him to be using thumbnails like that. He would not think that was acceptable. He would not think that that was appropriate. If people actually had if the iPhone actually had any decency, they would not think it was acceptable. They would not think it was appropriate. If they were actually decent people, they wouldn't be defending someone who uses thumbnails like that. They wouldn't be using thumbnails like that, should I say. They wouldn't be defending someone who thinks it's okay to be using thumbnails like that for a vlog. They wouldn't think that it was okay for him to be doing that. You know, they're the main problem, because they're the ones who can't see anything wrong in the fact that Chris is using thumbnails like this. You know, that is the main problem. Is the fact that the iFan can't see how fucking wrong it is. At least we can. At least we're smart enough and intelligent enough to realise, to understand why it's so wrong for him to be using thumbnails like this. You know, I'm not gonna apologise for doing this video because it had to be done. Someone had to say this, someone had to bring this up. You know, someone had to say that this is unacceptable and that this is inappropriate. You know, that is what it is. It's unacceptable and it's inappropriate. And I don't think I'm lying by saying that. I think that's perfectly true. You know, I mean, anybody when else would say it, you know, to be fair. Like, I just don't know what else to say. Like, I really actually genuinely don't. You know, when I went to look at their channel the other day and I saw the amount of thumbnails the amount of videos there were on the channel that had thumbnails like that with his swimmer, that really stood out to me like a hole in the head. And it really did appall, I thought it was actually genuinely appalling, and it was disgusting. It made me want to throw up. You know, and this is not down to Sarah. She's not the one that edits the vlogs or chooses the thumbnails and things like that. It is down to Chris. You know, he is the one that chooses these thumbnails and things like that. So it's all down to him. It's all on him. He's the one in the wrong. It's not the haters who are in the wrong for ordering him out. He is the one in the wrong. Because he is the one who is choosing to use thumbnails like that. And is choosing to show footage of his teenage daughters, his 12 and 15-year-old daughters, in swimwear. You know, they are children. And what he's basically doing now is he's putting their safety at risk by showing that kind of footage online. Because anyone can see that, anyone can get hold of that. And he's not fucking stopping to think about that. He's not stopping to fucking think about the fact that anyone and everyone can get hold of that footage of his kids. You know, he's not stopping to think about what he's fucking doing. He doesn't realise what he's doing. He doesn't realise how dangerous what he's doing actually is. He doesn't realise how dangerous it is for him to be using the thumbnails he's using for his vlogs. For the vlogs and everything. It is actually disgusting. But the iFan are actually worse than him. They're the ones that are defending him over this. You know, saying that he's not doing anything wrong. When actually he is. He's using thumbnails of his kids in swimwear to attract paedophiles and child predators. The guy's a fucking pervert, pure and simple. And I'm not gonna apologise for saying that. It just had to be fucking said. It's about time someone is out good and proper over this. I hope you've enjoyed the video anyway, and I'll see you for another one very soon. Bye bye, guys.